Hi, this is Lori Owen, and Rick Hodge is here with me,
Hello.
godfather of Skype,
Okay.
and we're going to read the book, Networking via Skype. 7 great tips and tricks to help you stay organized, find joint venture partners, build your ideas into marketable projects, collaborate easily and quickly, and make money at home by Lori Owen. That is Skype name Lori04. And
The Godfather of
Rick.
Skype, the Rick Hodge. Hello.
Yes, and your Skype name is?
Rick.Hodge, Hodge, 2.
Great. This free ebook is a sneak preview of Skype Networking for Newbies Volume 1, which is part of the Mafia Mastermind Skype Mastery series. This whole series will be available on Amazon as in a Kindle form. Introduction. Does this sound like you? You've tried Skype groups, but they just don't make sense to you. This little manual gives you that is Lori, my best tips to overcome the overwhelm. These tips have come out of my own experience of the last 2 months or so, where I entered a Skype room for the first time, and I'll have to admit that I felt overwhelmed. There are no visual clues as in Facebook or Pinterest or Google+. The conversation just flows on with no interruptions, so you have to scroll and scroll to understand what's being discussed and by whom. And I have to admit that I almost gave up right there. But people were telling me that Skype rooms are one of the best ways to network and build a list and find affiliates and find products to affiliate myself with. So I decided to persevere. I asked for help within my Skype Mafia Mastermind group, and I received it in big bunches. I now love Skype. I don't go a day without checking into the conversations that I've started with members of the group. Last night I mentioned this to a friend, and her response was, "Yep, I joined a couple of Skype groups, but I couldn't make heads or tails out of what was happening, so I haven't been back." And I consider that a shame, because what I've noticed, and Rick, I suspect you're going to say the same thing about this. People who use Skype to help them with their businesses tend to be people who are serious about business.
By all means. By all means.
Yeah, there's something about the Marshall McLuhan said it, the medium is the message. And in this case, I really feel that there's something about the Skype format that encourages people to be serious. So for all of you who are struggling to make sense of Skype, I have gathered the 7 best tips and tricks that I use to organize my Skype experience. So,
well, one thing I'll add to that real fast, and the fact of the matter is, there are so many different social medias that you can choose: Twitter, Facebook. Some people still have the MySpace for their musicians, those kind of things. Those are fine, but I discovered Skype out of necessity because I didn't have the time to network in Twitter as much. I didn't want to be a Facebook person all the time and posting pictures of my poodle and all that other stuff, which I don't even have a poodle. I mean, so Skype is very direct. It's not pretty. It's like the redheaded stepchild, for lack of better words. I know that's not politically correct, but the point is, if you want to do business, if you're serious about your business online, you want to make those connections, Skype is what we're going to be teaching. So go ahead and start reading your book again. Yep. I didn't want to mix that up too much.
Yeah, that was great. That made the point that I'm trying to make here, which is that you'll find people who are willing to listen to your ideas, encourage you to pursue them, and also willing to kick you into gear a bit if you need that. So in case in point, I've had several products and books in mind for a long time, but I simply haven't followed through. And since joining Skype Mafia Mastermind about 2 months ago, I have 3 different projects going on with members of the Skype Mafia Mastermind group. The people I'm working with here are people who have a commitment to success, mine and their own. And I'm finding that I have a level of commitment and mutual trust that keeps me tethered to my goals. And I'm really, really grateful for that. And how does it get any better than that, is what I say. So, one of the projects that I mentioned is this one with Rick Hodge, the founder of this and many other rooms. In fact, this little book is a preview of our bigger project, which I mentioned before. And in his foreword, Rick will talk a little bit about his involvement with Skype and what that involvement has done for his business, as well as how it can help you. The effort that you make will definitely be worth it.
All right. Thank you very much for that introduction.
Yep.
My name is Rick Hodge. I'm also known as the Godfather of Skype. I help people make money and get their business going, mainly using Skype rooms. Most people only know of Skype as an alternative to long-distance phone calls, but it's so much more than that. It's like Twitter on steroids. Now, I'm here to let you know that this little book contains hidden secrets that no one has taken the time to tell you about getting the most of your Skype experiences, and you're getting them for free. I mean, was it 99 cents for this book? I mean, basically free. This is a preview of a longer book titled Skype For Newbies, which in turn is part of a series that's called the Skype Mastery. In this series, we'll introduce you some of the other facts that we'll be letting you know when the larger book is published. Now, in fact, we'd like to invite you to be part of a very special free Skype focus group. And this is a group where we'll ask you to help us actually write our next books on Skype. Feel free to ask questions, make comments, and use the tools of Skype to collaborate with other people who are interested in building a business using Skype. If you say something that ends up being used in the book, we'll acknowledge your contribution to the book, give you a listing credit from you, and a no more personal message to be a personal message us on Skype. PM me, Rick Hodge, at rick.hodge, Hodge, 2, and it's in the book too. I know I may be speaking a little faster, but we definitely want to make sure that you're engaged, entertained, and reading through this book. Or Laura at Laura, Laurie 04. Now, we'd also like to have you become a member of the Skype Mafia Mastermind. Everything you ever need for marketing, either online or offline, is contained within our Skype Mafia family. Come give us a try, and with the tips in this book, you should be able to navigate through our Skype rooms very easily. Basically, I run over, at this time, about 20 different rooms. About 12 of those will be available on different facets, WordPress, Facebook itself, many other facets that can help you grow your business. So we'll dig in more into that a little bit later. Okay.
Right. First tip is create lists. Suppose that you're having a conversation with someone, or you're in a room and you figure out that there are several people who create mobile apps. You want to remember them. So you create a list called mobile apps for those contacts. As with any software, there are several ways to accomplish this, and I'm showing you just one way. So you want to bring it up here. Go to the toolbar at the top. Go to Contacts, drop down to Create New List. Contact Lists. Sorry. It's Contacts, Contact Lists, Create New List.
Yeah, you keep going. There you go.
Right down
there
here
you go.
at the bottom. Click on that, and right here.
Do an edit form. Just make a list up, please.
Okay, well, right here, you'll see this. I'm going to make a list that is called.
There's your edit button. There you go.
Called Button Makers.
There you go.
And then click on that. We have a list. And I'm going to add Rick Hodge to my Button Makers list. And I'm also going to add a couple of other people. And that's it. You've just now created a list. This organizes people. This is not a group. This is not a room. This is your organization. And you can add those same people to more than one list. It's very much like the circles in Google Plus, or like lists in Facebook, or lists in Twitter. It's a way for you to organize your information. that's my first one. And oh, it's really important because I didn't know how to find these. The default right here is all. If you click on your contact tab at the top of the left-hand screen, you're going to get your favorites, and then below favorites you'll see all. And if you click on the little downward pointing arrow there, you get a list of all your lists. And you can click on one of those, and that is populated into the left-hand screen, which it just makes organizing things so much easier. All right. So that was accessing your lists. Next tip is renaming your contacts. This is one of the most useful tips I can give you, although it's a bit of a misnomer. You're not actually renaming your contacts. The person on the other end doesn't even see what you name them. The names you assign are for your own organizational purposes, and other people don't see them. So how I use this is as a shorthand method to be able to quickly remember the most important information about each of my contacts. Yes, of course, I can also refer back to the list, but it's also, I find it really helpful to have an instant reminder. For instance, if you and I were to have a conversation within the Skype Mafia social media room about how you use Pinterest to promote your fitness club, I might name you something like Pinterest Fitness SM Social Media Room. And then the next time I see you, I can ask you about your Pinterest fitness board and how it's coming along, or I might even mention one of your pins, which is helpful in building relationships. It shows you that I have been paying attention to you, and you don't need to know I have my little cheat sheet right there. Of course, I'll also add you to the list, such as a Pinterest expert or health and wellness list. How do you rename someone? Let's go up here to Rick Hodge, the godfather of Skype. You right click on his name, and up comes a drop down box that says rename. I'm going to rename him Rick Hodge, the godfather of Skype and video expert. So next time I run into him in whatever room, I'll know that not only is he the godfather of Skype, but also he's very, very interested in videos and has a lot of information about that. If you have anything to add to any of these, Rick?
One thing that, because this is just a basic book to get you started with Skype and how to do the networking, there are some ways that you can build a list. The typical, what people say about email marketing that people wouldn't think you could do with Skype. And there's some tips and techniques, some tricks that I know that I've learned to help you actually build an email list, so you can be, if you wanted to go that direction, and that's not the main part. That's not in this book.
We're going to be covering that in one of our, I think it's book 4 or book 5, where we're going to be going into that in depth. Just know that it's coming, that it is possible to do that.
I'm looking forward to teaching on that.
Most people don't know that.
Yeah, very few people know that, and there's a lot of money to be made with that. So.
Yep. So the next tip is editing or removing comments. So you're in a conversation, your fingers aren't coordinated today, you make a series of typographical errors, or perhaps, as happened to me when I was first involved in the rooms, you accidentally type a bunch of random characters and accidentally hit send, and there in the conversation stream is a series of zio comments from me. That was pretty embarrassing. I didn't know that I could remove those, but now I do. And that is really simple. The edit and or remove comment comes to the rescue. So I'm going to type something here. I'm going to type ZO, and I'm going to send it. And then I'm going to right click on that, and up pops a drop down menu that says edit message. The message goes back down into the box where you do your where you do your typing, and I change that to hello and send, and the zeros are gone and the hello is there. Or if I just want to remove it altogether, I right click and go down to remove message, and a little box comes up saying, do I really want to remove it? And I say, yep, I do. And it's gone. That's so good to be able to do, because sometimes you say things you don't mean to say, and sometimes your fingers just don't work right. And that's easy peasy. Number 4 tip is using your profile to communicate your skills, goals, and project needs. And this is one that a lot of people don't do. Actually, my comments in relation to this tip are meant to apply to all of your social media profiles. And make no mistake, as Rick said earlier, Skype is definitely a social media site. It is a place where people meet and greet and network and work together, and it is social media. So if your main goal in using Skype is for networking, finding affiliate partners, and collaborating on projects, on profitable projects, you want that goal to be reflected in your profile page. Use your profile pages as golden promotional and networking real estate. So to access your profile page, and again, it's software. There are a lot of different ways to do this, so I'm just telling you one. One way to do it is through View Profile. Now the View part of the toolbar populates the right-hand window. So when you do View Profile, you're putting up your profile in that right-hand window. You want to notice that there are 2 tabs here. You can toggle back and forth between your public profile, which has real basic information and about me, and your contacts only profile. And you can edit either of them. There's the little bitty edit button right there. So you want to use your about me. Right now on my about me, I'm a massage practitioner, social media manager, help local businesses increase their online presence, and my projects are Skype education, Skype networking, health for computer users, and history. I'm going to go to the contacts only profile and hit edit, and suddenly you have all these different categories. The 2 that are the most important are the one at the very top. And what I've been doing is I've been putting my weekly goals into the one up by my picture. And I tell people about them. I have my this week's goals up on my profile. That tells them what I'm about, what I'm hoping to do, how they can help me, and how I can help them. And we scroll down here. You want to make sure that you put a good website in that has the information that you want people to know about you. And then again, down at the bottom is your about me, and you can edit that, add in whatever you feel you want people to know about you. It's good real estate. Make sure you use it. You have anything to add to that, Rick?
No, you're doing fine. We're on page 10 now.
Okay.
We're moving right along.
Yep, we are on
11 now. Yeah, moving.
We are on number 5.
All right.
Which is using View Instant Message to keep track of current conversations. Now, this is one of those things I just happened to stumble on one night, and I went, wow, that makes it so much easier. So we're going to talk again about the function of the left-hand window in the main dashboard area of Skype. So if you go up to the top, to the toolbar, you go to View, drop it down to Instant Messages, and suddenly, in the left-hand window, you have a list of all of the rooms and all of the people that you have conversations going with. When someone makes a comment, the tab at the top where it says Recent will flash red, and a little orange dot will show up beside the conversation where the comment was just made. That means with that particular view up, you can toggle back and forth really fast and go from one conversation to another. You know, perhaps you're in a room and once someone sends you an instant message or a private message, and you can go from the room to that conversation and back again really fast. It really helps to keep track of all of the streams of conversations, because that's one of the things about Skype. It's like a spider web of conversations. There's not just one going on. There'll usually be. Rick, how many conversations do you just say you usually have going on at
Oh
once?
my! Today was a slow day for me. I wasn't even here, but maybe half an hour or so this morning. I got back on, ran some things that I need to get done. On a typical day, because of all the different rooms and being the mafia mastermind, all the different rooms underneath there, easily 20 different people a day when this thing was really just getting started, and when the rooms were so much buzz and activity, we were getting 1,000 chats a day
Right. So you
or better.
personally would be participating in, maybe 100 conversations at one time, maybe?
I would be the administrator. I am the administrator for all these rooms, and there'd be
Yeah.
easily 100 conversations at a time going on. And
Right.
yes,
And you're back
and I'm
going
basically
back and forth. Yeah.
I'm in the background, and unless you were on my end, we'll definitely get into that in some further advanced training, because that in
Yep.
itself would be an entire book. But
It is, in fact, it is an
I've
entire
showed
book.
I'll
It is
give you
number 6.
yeah. I've showed this to Lori, and she never understood it until I showed it to her. That's all I can really say. When you
Right.
see it from my end and you look in from the looking in, then you really see it. So wait for that book.
Yeah.
When that book comes out, you'll have the videos, the PDF for it. We're going to tease you. We're going to make you wait, but it's worth it.
That's right. That's right. So one of the things that's really important to understand is that from the point of view of Skype, every text-based conversation is an instant message. So anytime you have a conversation with someone, that is an instant message. Anytime you're in a room, that is an instant message. If we were to bring a third person into a conversation, that would create its own stream, that would have its own tab on this instant message view board in the left-hand screen. So that's really important to understand, that when you're viewing the instant messages, you're viewing all of your conversations at once. And that's really, really helpful. You can toggle back and forth and just follow it all so much easier. And on to number 6, which is using Control V to create quotation marks and indentations. Now, one of the most confusing and frustrating parts about my Skype experience at first was the speed at which conversations flowed by. If I wanted to respond to someone's comment, I'd have to scroll way up, see what they said, go all the way down to the bottom, say something like, "At Rick," in response to your comment, da 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 da, and then add my comment. And it was it was frustrating for me. But one day I noticed that people's comments would appear in the timeline with a quotation mark and indented. And then people would add their comment to that. So they were bringing pieces of conversation forward and making them current. And I just had a great aha moment at that point. And I said to someone in the room, "How are you doing that?" They said, "Oh, well, you just want to make sure you're doing Control V." So this is how it works. Basically, you go and you find a little piece of conversation that you want to respond to. And you select it, and you do Control C, which is copy, and then you come back down into the text box, and you can do a Control V, and what you've just selected will show up there indented and in quotation marks, and then you'll be able to comment. Now, to be able to do that, you have to have a couple of settings in place. I'm going to go through that really quickly. You go to Tools, Options. So you're up on the toolbar, Tools, Options. And then along the left side, you'll see something that says IM and SMS. You want to click on that. Usually just the basic options will show up, but there's a little box that says Show Advanced Options. Click on that, and you'll see something that says pressing Control V will make sure that quote copied message is selected, and then save that. And from then on, you'll be able to do that little function. And believe me, it really makes a huge difference for me anyway. Okay. Any questions or comments about that one?
No, that's all good. You're looking on one thing I could say, I guess, would be the fact that she's on a PC, I'm on a Mac, so my settings are going to be a little different.
Oh, that's right. And that's something that we need to do, is we need to make sure that we do a second version of this book for people with Macs, because a lot of what I'm finding out is that Macs and PCs there's some significant differences.
Yeah.
All right, we're on to the 7th tip, which again will help you with your collaborative efforts. So you're talking with someone. Maybe you're talking with Rick. Maybe you're talking with someone that you feel could help you build a product. And you have something that you've just written, and you want to get their comments on it. This is one of the really, really best parts of Skype. When I found out about this, it blew me away. You can send documents and share files with your contacts within Skype. You don't have to go over to email and send it that way. You can just share the files. And I have to say, sometimes it works better than others, but most of the time it works really well. And it's so simple. When I first heard about it, I thought, oh, that's going to be really hard to do. So I didn't do it. And then someone one day said, oh, you just drag and drop. And I went, no, it can't be that easy. Well, yeah, it is. It's that easy. It is that easy. You bring up some document that you want to share. I'm going to find.
By the way, you can't do that on Facebook. Everybody talks about how great Facebook is. This is one definite advantage Skype has over Facebook. You literally grab whatever you need to have, send it to them, get on the video live like we're doing right now. Show it. This is a go-to meeting software, but you wouldn't even need that. You could use, if it was just me and her building a product, we'd share a screen through Skype, which would be free. We would be communicating back and forth, collaborating, do a file, boom, send it to her.
And I'd say, I saw this great PDF about that, Rick. Let me just send it to you.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to make sure I've got Rick up here rather than someone else. Where are you? Okay, there you are. So I'm going to send this to you. All right, here it comes. Drag it, drop it. No, I don't think you're on here right now, are you?
No, I'm not,
so
because
this may not work,
for
but
the
that's
recording.
all you have to do. And then there'll be a little scroll bar that says that it's uploading, and the person has to accept it at the other end. That's it.
Yeah.
It's really that simple. We've done that quite a bit in collaborating on these books.
Yeah.
We've been using all of these tools. There are some other tools that we're going to be covering in book 2 in this series. In fact, there are about 13 more tips that I'm including in that book, and then we're going to go through all of Skype, and we're going to talk about ways that we know that people have been using to make money with Skype, and we're going to talk about Skype etiquette. What else are we talking about?
You hit a good point there on the Skype etiquette. Social media. There's a gentleman named Perry Belcher who's a pretty controversial figure in the internet marketing world. People have heard of Ryan Dice, these others, but Perry Belcher said something that really made a lot of sense to me, and really short, simple. It's a party. So if you were at a party,
It
you
it is.
if you were at a
Yes.
party, if the party is all and this is kind of a joke that me and her have, if the party is all ladies that sit down and drink tea and knit sweaters, and I'm with the redneck crowd and we're all drinking beer and all that other happy stuff, we're not going to be in the same party. We're not going to be able to relate. The same thing's true with social media, whether it's Facebook, Skype. I know that's maybe not the greatest analogy, but makes you think. When you're at the party, do as the Romans do. If you're at the party and you're being boastful or you're loud or bracious or you're just doing nothing but pitching products, people aren't going to want to respond to that. It's no different than being at a party. Social manners, having manners, just like your mama taught you growing up, have some manners, have good common sense.
That's right.
Everything that works in the real world that's accepted as social behavior is the same thing in Skype. And with Skype, it's even more so than Facebook or Twitter because this stuff's real. If you make somebody mad in Skype, they're liable to actually want to right then and there, not just PM you a personal message right away. They will say, hey, man, I want to talk to you. They can literally get on the phone
Right.
through Skype and look at you
you.
and literally open up a video and look at you dead in the eye like I'm looking at you right now and say, hey, you're wrong. Hey, or whatever. Or you could say, hey, I like the way you're thinking. Let's do this product. Let's do this together, whatever. So that's just driving that home that, have good common sense. Act like you got sense. I tell my stepson that all from time to time. That's probably, the point is, act like you got good common sense, have manners, be respectful, and and you will have a lot more fun, a lot more engaging that way. So
Right. Yeah, and I also liken it to being a guest in someone's home.
there you
You
go.
know, you don't walk in and say, "Hey, I'm really glad you invited me over for dinner. I've had this vacuum I want to show you."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you need a new vacuum, don't you?
Yeah,
Here, let me
right,
show it
right.
to you. Let me sell it to you.
You
You don't do that.
right. You don't bring all your
Don't
friends.
do it.
You don't bring all your young 20ish friends in with all their beer and everything else that comes with it, and everybody at the party doesn't drink. That's not cool.
Right.
Good analogy.
Right. Yep. So the last little bit of this book, we're talking about the Skype Mafia Mastermind, and do you want to read this?
Sure. Put that where I can read it a little bit. We've
Okay.
talked about the Skype Mafia Mastermind and all the different masterminds that are in there. The giveaway program, the event that's almost over with. From the time we're reading this now, it's actually a couple more days, and it's been very successful. People that have never had a product in their life, never made any money online other than maybe a few dollars here and there, are actually making money because of the connections they've made in my Skype rooms. It's basically, if you wanted to look it up for yourself, it would be called themafiamastermind.com. So that would be www, obviously the mafia mastermind.com. You can check it out. And by all means, I want you to use her link. She's the one Laura's in here. And when you come and see this later on, some of the follow-up books, perhaps you'll see an email on this. I definitely want you to use her link because I'm old school like that. I've come from the school of thought, dance with who brought you. So Laura brought the information to you. I want you to use her link. But anyway, the point is, it will help you build. What we do in the Mafia Mastermind is we help people to build information products. We help attract affiliates. Now, in our business, as far as online marketing, which is not actually Kindle, but if you do want to go that direction with an online business and building a list, email, all these other things that go with it, you definitely want to have affiliates that'll mail your offer. Because the lifeblood of any business online, as far as products, is having people that promote your offer. That's where the money's at. You'll make less money by that, but you want to have as many affiliates as possible. So the people that are typical or passionate about what they're being their own boss, they're living life on their own terms. They want to create financial abundance for their families and for themselves and for their families. And they're trying to get out of the rat race. Some of us are doing this full time, some of us are not, some of us are doing it part time, and they're getting their feet wet and the connections that are being made. Would you join the Mafia Mastermind? Yeah, I've got a WordPress site and I've got a bunch of webinars that are recorded in there, a bunch of videos and how-to courses, all that. And that's great. You can get that anywhere, to be totally honest. I mean, you can go online and just get your credit card out and just purchase to your heart's content on all these different courses and masterminds.
None of us have done that, have we?
No, of course not. None of us have ever done that. I dropped $20,000 in 4 or 5 years, but that's a whole different story. The point is, we all know that's the way that you can do that. The difference between all of that and what we do in the mastermind is It's about centered on Skype. Yes, I have the membership, all that other stuff, but I'm the only one that I know of, and there could be somebody that's doing it that I've never seen. I'm the only one I know of on the Warrior Forum for sure, and other places that I've checked extensively, that has all these different categories to teach you if you want to learn about WordPress. I've got a group specifically for people that love WordPress, that interact every day, that share technology, ideas. You know, you can go to the forums all over the internet, waste your time. Go ahead, go to the forum. You want to learn how to do WordPress? You might get lucky and get everything you need in a few minutes, possibly. I don't know. Or you could waste all day long and never get an answer. This is different. If you want information on WordPress and you have a theme that you're using or something you need help with on that theme, boom, you get that WordPress, and you may not get an answer right away, but you'll get an answer that's a correct answer, okay, without a bunch of hubbub, all that, somebody will be there. If you need help with building a list, I have a room that's for list building. If you want to have if you want to know how to make a video, or if you want somebody to look at your video and get a comment on your video, or give you some comment love and look at it and say, hey, does my video stink? What could I do different? Boom, you got help for that. If you have a product you're launching, we've got a room for that. All these different facets of that, plus, of course, the membership and that interaction. That's a true mastermind. A true mastermind is where we come together to conspire. I know that's a bad word to some people, but the true definition of conspire is where you and I come together to create something better. Okay? So, anyway, actually that word is a good thing. When you come together to create something bigger than yourselves, that's a true mastermind. That's what we do. And, we got a $1 trial. There it is. By all means, use her link that's in there. I know many of you are listening to this through a PDF. Through an MP4, or you're watching the video. But there's the link right there inside. That's it, really. When you join the mastermind, you're paying for the connections. So there you go.
And I just have to add that I concur with what Rick is saying. There have been several times when I've had questions that I wanted to have answered, or I had something that I wanted someone to look at and comment on, and I go into the rooms and boom, it happens so fast. It seems like there's always someone there who knows the answer, and it's wonderful. It's really been a great resource for me. When we were working on the giveaway, one night, one of the other people in the room sent me a PM and said, "Could I talk for a minute?" So we talked about what she was going to do for her gift. She'd never done a gift for a giveaway before. Right. And she was, I wouldn't say she was stressing about it, but she wasn't sure exactly what to do. And I said, well, you're in personal development. How about, do you have something like Mind Movies? And she said, yeah, I have Mind Movies. It's been sitting around not doing anything. I said, how about making a Mind Movie for people? Giving them a series of inspirational thoughts that will help them move forward in their life. And I don't know exactly what she did, as far as what we were talking about that night, but it got her thinking. And she was off. And that's what a mastermind does. You come and talk to someone else about what you're thinking of, and they give you some ideas, and then you take their ideas and you add your own ideas to it, and you literally become a larger mind. It's quite amazing how it works, and it's definitely working in this room.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's really all you can say. Again, you can go join a mastermind all day long and pay quite a bit of money for that. Everybody knows the price ranges. If you've searched, most of them are $97 a month. There's a few that are $47 a month. But none of them have that direct. Of course, we do weekly webinars too. I forgot to mention that. We do a lot of other things besides just having a, quote, membership site set up on WordPress and all that. Well, we got training for copywriting, WordPress, all these different, plus the live interaction. Again, that's what separates us from everybody else out there, no matter what their price point is. We have that live interaction through Skype, get you the information you need right away. For some reason, if can't get an answer, you think it's 3 o'clock in the morning where you're at. Well, we got somebody in Australia, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Right then, Boom, you want an answer? Boom, you want to go to Skype? Boom, let's get you on camera, and that's how we roll. That's how the mastermind works.
Yep.
So that's all I've got. I appreciate everything.
So
Thank
come
you.
and join us. We'd love to see you.
All right. Well,
Thanks
thank
a
you so
lot.
much. Bye.